What's going on? My name is NFT Flenny, and with Disney's Golden Moments collection just about wrapping up, I wanted to make a ranking of every single collectible from the collection. So pretty much the main criteria for how I rank these is by what I think will be the most valuable in the long term. Not in a week, not in a month, not even probably in a year. I'm talking 2, 3, 5+ years from now, what will be the most valuable. I'm really approaching this from a bird's eye view and trying to predict what will stand the test of time and what people will want the most years from now. So we can get ahead of the curve and get in while they're early, while it's still hot, and while it's still cheap. With that being said, just because something is low on this list does not mean it is a bad collectible by any means. I really want to emphasize that. I needed to pick something to be first, something to be last from the Golden Moments collection, so something last, it does not mean it's bad. Pretty much anything from this collection I think is one of the best collectibles on the Veve app. So keep that in mind. Let's get straight into the list. Starting us off at number 11, we got the Pizza Planet truck. Now here's my reasoning for having this last. First of all, vehicles don't do that well on Veve. I've mentioned this before, but for whatever reason, I think it's because they don't have as much personality, and I don't think they look as cool in AR and such. Maybe in the future when we can drive our cars around in the Veveverse, maybe vehicles will get a huge increase and they'll be much more valuable. But how I see it currently, and with how unpredictable and uncertain the future of the metaverse is, I don't want to bank on drivable metaverse cars being popular. So as it stands, I think the Pizza Planet truck is number 11. The other main reason is that although I love Pixar and it is a really cool Pixar Easter egg, I don't think a lot of people even really knew that it was an Easter egg for Pixar, which is why I think that this will be more so for Pixar fans and it won't be as much of a widespread appeal, which is the main reason it's number 11. It's a cool Easter egg, but it's not really significant to the movies and it's not something that you really remember or pull away from the movies. It's just a cool Easter egg. On to number 10, we got Bart's skateboard. So this one's also toward the bottom for pretty similar reasons to the Pizza Planet truck, just that it's really not that significant to the story or to the characters or to the overarching feel of the show / movie. It is true that Bart rides around Springfield on his skateboard and it's something he is known for, but really if you think about it, it's not that significant. Like Chad from NFT Pirate said, Bart's skateboard is probably about 2% significant and relevant to the show, while Homer and Bart are about 70% because they're the main characters. So when you really put it into perspective of what will be more popular or what will be more valuable, I see things like characters being more valuable, and that's a big reason why we see the Pizza Planet truck and Bart's skateboard, two non-people collectibles, vehicle collectibles, toward the bottom. Staying true to my criteria of non-people collectibles not doing as well, I have the Avengers logo coming in at number 9. So even though Marvel and the Avengers are huge, and with all the movies that came out, they've only risen exponentially in popularity, I think that the logo itself is not going to be what stands out the most. And again, I just don't think there's much personality to it. With characters, we can attach feelings, emotion. When it comes to collecting, I think people are going to want to keep the characters as opposed to the logos or maybe some of the Easter eggs. Next up, we got WALL-E as part of the first ever Pixar NFT drop. So I think that alone will be very significant for WALL-E. If you think about all the Pixar characters and how popular it is, he's the first. And that is a very common theme between this entire collection, is that pretty much everything in here, I think everything actually is a first of its kind in some way, at least first appearance, and then they sometimes have more first tacked onto it, such as first Simpsons drop, first Star Wars drop, first, fill in the blank. Rolling Stone ranks this little guy at number 2 of best Pixar characters, and Screen Rant ranks him also number 2 as the most likable Pixar character. So he definitely has some popularity, and do not sleep on him just because he doesn't talk in the movie. He may not be as popular as some other Pixar characters, or the movie itself might not be as popular as other Pixar movies, but I really think what's carrying him is the first ever Pixar drop. And he's a bit low on the list relatively, but it's kind of hard to find a spot for him. But I think this fits well. I really don't have anything bad to say about our waste allocation load lifter Earth class. Coming in at number 7, we got Elsa. Now I really think that the Veve community is sleeping on Elsa. My prediction of why that might be is that the overall demographic of Veve tends to be older people who didn't grow up when Frozen was in its heyday, which was maybe about a decade ago by now. Kids today, this is their Toy Story, this is their Cars, this is their Finding Nemo. So this will have so much nostalgia for a whole generation, and I don't think people in Veve currently really understand the scope or the scale of Frozen and Elsa. As Andy Ellis pointed out, the Let It Go music video sing-along has 2.6 billion views on YouTube. If that doesn't speak for itself, I don't know what will. It is one of the most famous songs probably in the world, I'm guessing, especially at 2.6 billion views. Kids just love Frozen, they love Elsa, they love the song. It is a hit, and I don't think a lot of people fully recognize the scope or the scale of that. And I definitely don't think that her price reflects what I think her true value is. Not only that, Disney princesses are ranked number 6 on the highest grossing media franchises of all time. So these princesses are no joke, and Elsa, she is definitely toward the top, especially recently. And just to keep adding on to it, she has a super cool Easter egg as part of her collectible, and it is a pen that is on her foot. So shout out to community legend Gary for helping me find this, and shout out to Twitter user Hayden with a long string of numbers. They helped me find this info and provide more info. So turns out this pen is called the Ever Sharp Skyline, and Walt Disney endorsed it, he loved it, he used it, and it's pretty cool. They threw in that pen as a little Easter egg, a little homage to the founder, Walt Disney. Although Elsa is relatively low on the list, I think she is one of the most slept on currently. Number 6, we have Homer and Bart, two of the main characters of the longest running show on television, and one of my favorite shows too. In their iconic choking pose, this collectible is historic for more than one reason. First of all, it is the first first appearance on Veve, and what that means is that it's the first time that two characters have appeared for the first time at the same time as one collectible. So we've seen tons of first appearances, we are no strangers to that on Veve, but this is the first time that two first appearances have been combined into one, and we see it with Homer and Bart. This really adds to the historical significance of NFTs and Veve. And to go along with that, of course, this is the first ever Simpsons NFT. According to an article from definitivedose.com ranking the most popular fictional characters, they have Homer Simpson ranked at number 14. So that is very significant for the popularity of this character and this collectible. But the real reason I have it so high on this list is not because of the popular characters or the popular show, although that plays some part into it. But the main reason is that it was the first ever set that Disney dropped as part of officially licensed Disney collection. So there's some debate about if the first Spider-Man collection, if that's the first Disney set, since Disney owns Marvel. There's some debate, and there probably always will be unless we get a very definitive answer from Veve or Marvel or Disney or someone like that. But no matter how you chop it up, the Simpsons drop will always be the first drop from the Golden Moments collection, which was Disney's first official NFT collection. We always talk about the Todd Batman being so valuable, being so historic, because it was the first of its kind. I see this Simpsons set, and especially the first appearance of two of the main characters, I see that being up there in some capacity. No matter how people decide, if we ever do decide on if this is the first Disney drop or not, I think it'll be valuable regardless for all the reasons I just said. Number 5, we got none other than Mr. Stark. I'm talking about Iron Man. Iron Man and Captain America have been voted as the two most popular Avengers, and Ranker.com ranks Iron Man as the second most popular Marvel character, behind only Spider-Man. Another cool detail about this Iron Man collectible is that, according to Trevor, who is the lead content creator for Veve, seems credible to me, right? He said that this collectible is the actual model for the Mark 50 Iron Man armor as seen in Infinity War. And I actually looked up the armor, and there's some really cool things about it, a lot that I didn't know, and it's cool the amount of detail that they have in this collectible. There's not much more to say besides the first appearance of one of the most famous superheroes of all time, in my opinion, will be valuable for a very long time. Number 4, I'm rocking with CP3O, and the main reason for these Star Wars characters being ranked highly on the list is the fact that Star Wars has brought in $68.7 billion in revenue and has one of the biggest fandoms out of any franchise in the entire world. To go along with that, this is the first ever Star Wars NFT set in the world, and it always will be. Just so you guys know, this logic and thinking applies for every single collectible that I've been talking about. If it's a first appearance, first drop, blah blah blah, whatever it is, it will always be that way for the end of time. So this is really why I think these Disney Golden Moment collectibles will be so valuable, maybe some of the most valuable of all time. Think about when the die-hard Star Wars fans either find out about this or when they eventually come around to NFTs and digital collecting. Think about what they would do to get their hands on the first piece of Star Wars digital collecting in history. And that makes for a perfect segue into number 3 on my list, which is R2-D2, which is of course CP3O's partner in crime. So again, I have R2-D2 ranked highly on this list for the same reasons as CP3O, just how massive Star Wars is. Star Wars is ranked 5th on the highest grossing media franchises of all time. And we're looking at 2 iconic characters from the storied franchise appearing for the first time in NFT form. I'm just so excited about these sets and their historical significance, and I think the Star Wars one will be huge, which is why they're so high on this list. Coming in at number 2, I'm going with Mickey's hat. Fantasia, the Sorcerer's hat, whatever you want to call it. When I first made this list, I had it lower down, but when I really thought about it, this is the first Disney drop. I know I just talked about how The Simpsons might be or Spider-Man might be. However, those end up working out. There is no denying that this is the first ever NFT drop from Disney that is not from a purchased license. So of course Marvel purchased, Fox with The Simpsons got purchased. This is the original Disney brand for the first time in NFT form. And in this drop, we saw Elsa and then we saw the hat. And I think that this hat is just a symbol of one of the biggest brands in the world, a symbol of Disney. So many people love Disney. As we all know, it's one of the biggest companies in the world. They buy pretty much everything. They're gonna rule the world eventually at this rate. But that's really the driving factor in why I think that Mickey's hat will be one of the most valuable collectibles from this set. And I think that this is all about Disney. Disney is the overarching brand, the overarching company, been around forever. And I think having a piece of true Disney history, the first NFT, I think that will be just massive. So that's why I got Mickey's Sorcerer's hat at number 2. If you know these collectibles well enough, and if you've been paying good enough attention, you can probably guess what's coming in at number 1. But anyway, let's still get a drum roll going. At number 1, we have the Partners statue, featuring Walt Disney and Mickey Mouse, the founder and the most iconic character from the founder, in one collectible, both first appearance. I talked about Homer and Bart being the first ever double first appearance. That means that these two won't be the first, but still, that shows how rare double first appearances are. These just scream Disney. Walt Disney, of course, and Mickey Mouse, those two things are the most synonymous with Disney. And it's of course famous for being in front of the theme parks. It's just so recognizable, so iconic. This right here is such a huge piece of NFT and collecting history. And I will do everything that I can to get my hands on this one. Not only that, this is the only ultra rare in the entire collection. If you guys have noticed, there's only been rare, common, uncommon. This is the only ultra rare. Also, if you can snag this one on the drop, you get a year free of Disney Plus. I believe that for those reasons, this collectible is the most elite, and I also think it is one of the most elite on Veve, and probably will be for a very long time. Like I always say, you cannot get much bigger than Disney, so I'm not sure how much bigger we are going to get on the Veve app. And that's why I've been investing so heavily in collecting these while I still can, before we go to immutable, before we start growing even more, and these start getting snagged up. I'm doing what I can to take advantage of being so early in the NFT space and in Veve, and making my mark in the digital collecting world. There's my list. There are my rankings. Let me know what your rankings are down in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear how you guys value these things and what you see being the long-term price potential for these. And if you think I was on point or if I was way off with my predictions, let me know down in the comments. I'm very curious to hear. And if you guys appreciated the rankings, maybe it helped you decide or prioritize certain collectibles. If you enjoyed it, if you appreciated it, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell, because it really helps my channel grow and we can just spread this valuable information to the whole Veve community. So guys, this has been NFT Flenny. I'll see you guys next time.